You want to look at Webull? How? How, Sway? I don't want to look at this thing, but fine, I'll look at it. Oh, it's a 6K? Even though the company's in Florida? Come on. I don't think Lilly's a short. You think it's a short? You don't think GLP-1 is gonna go up nonstop? Business combination agreement. Come on, bro. Is it 20F? Is that 20F? You have shares or you have stocks? Okay, so presumably they filed some kind of deal. Ah, yes. Okay, good. Thank God. Some deal docs of some kind. Pretty confident in capper. Pretty confident they're capping with their 8-person phase 3. With a disease with 20,000 people. Couldn't find more than 8 people to do your phase 3? It's about to go nuclear. You know, there's a thing where the more aggressive rhetoric you use, the less convincing you are. Okay, here's the actual business. They didn't grow? Chat, do you see this? Chat, come on, chat. That's apparently how Zoomers address their viewers these days. Do you see this, chat? What kind of a company doesn't grow? 389 in 2022, 390 in 2023, and then down 10% in what? Ticker is bull? Yeah, that's what it is. How fast can I short it is the question. Let's go. There are not sufficient shares available. Schwab getting in the way of my riches. Well, we looked at it. That was fast. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe later today. What's trade log? Nobody. That sounds like an interesting. We're not quite as big as Webull yet, but we're growing. Maybe we should buy them. Is it popular? That's a good adjacency. They're probably worth more than we are, but who knows? Never know. Oh yeah, I forgot these guys had a New England Journal paper on orforglipron. Orfoglipron. Orforglipron. Let me get that New England. There it is. 9 to 13% weight loss at week 26. I just want to see the structure real quick. I guess they never did any. Well, let's see. I want to see if there's any medchem papers. Yeah, no publications other than the clinical ones. I'd like to see the structure. Not peptidomimetic, but it's also kind of hilarious. It's almost a dimer. Well, the Pfizer drug had some talks too. IQ's red. I love it. It's World Quantum Day. Okay, so orforglipron, massive molecule. What molecular weight do you think that is, Chad? I'm guessing 550. What's the molecular weight? Yeah, I thought it was huge. 883. It's a fat molecule. Wait. It was known as Owl 833? What? Did they buy this thing? Who'd they buy it from? There is a paper. Chugai. And it looks like it was a Lilly drug, but Owl 833 is a weird code name. It's a Chugai drug originally? Oh, sure. Oh, Chugai. 50 million upfront to Chugai. Japanese company. Oh, Eli Riri. I guess that's how you would say it in Japanese, right? I would not want to say Eli Lilly in a Japanese meeting. 33% bioavailability. Yeah, it is a little ironic. Now Roche wants to be in obesity. It's coming out. I don't know why you're so bearish on it. I mean, it's just a shot on goal for Lilly. Quantum down like crazy. Guess Quantum Day was a big flop. They really shouldn't be calling themselves quantum computers. More like quantum instrument. Why don't you guys pick the stock to look at? We could look at Qichao. We could look at China Mobile. 2 Chinese stocks. All right, Progressive Auto Insurance. Or just Progressive. $279 stock. Let's get in the flow state. It's Monday. You get started. You're a little off. As soon as we get into the flow, we're back. We're so back. Okay, 163 billion market cap, one of the biggest companies in the world, Progressive. Progressive is an insurance holding company, personal and commercial auto insurance, residential, property insurance, motorcycles, watercraft, and other recreational vehicles. Business-related general liability, okay, commercial property for small businesses, workers' comp, for transportation industry, and specialty property casualty insurance. So they're basically only a US company, from what I can tell. personal autos and personal vehicles are 85% of premiums. So Geico's, I guess, their big competitor. It's almost all auto insurance. Second in market share in US private passenger auto insurance. Wow. 240 competitors in that market. The top 15 write $2.5 billion of premium annually. I'm guessing Geico's number one. Or maybe it's no, Geico. State Farm. Allstate's not too far behind. They got a whole car crash there. They're like, are you covered? I don't even have a car. I'm buying this insurance. Okay, so State Farm is like its own collective. So I guess long-term, isn't this like gonna be a dying business because of self-driving? Should we just be short Progressive forever? You know what I mean? It's not gonna be any accidents anymore. What do you think, chat? Enbrel versus 𝗬𝗎𝗓. That was Pharma Wars from 10, 20 years ago. Those days are long gone. Jake from State Farm is the majority owner. Let's go. I don't know if no accidents is good for insurance because, the premium spread always has to be, I don't know. Within 20 years, I'm not sure we have car accidents anymore. Maybe that's a little optimistic, but even if they drop by 20 or 30%, that's a disaster. These things move faster than you think. I was talking to my girlfriend the other day. Did you know ChatGPT is only 2.5 years old? Think about how crazy it is. I was like, it's got to be, 5 years old? She's like 2.5. I don't know if they want accidents. Everyone will still be covered. I don't think insurance will go away. What I'm talking about is the marginal accident rate should drop pretty dramatically over time. And that means that insurance profits have to get sort of competed down. People will be willing to gamble for market share by lowering prices because they have more profit. Chris, these policies are usually pretty short term. So I don't know about that. Once self-driving hits, the permanent profit potential of these companies will be limited. And, there might be a future, if you ask Elon, where self-driving is not only safer, but is much cheaper. Use the insurance code PharmaBro when you sign up for State Farm, Allstate, or Progressive. Get 10% off. I always like the idea of having fake advertisements. Like, today's stream is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's like, we paying this guy? No, I just like Coca-Cola, bro. I'm not sure Waymo won't scale. Okay, this is the closest we're going to get to an income statement here. Yeah, I wouldn't call this an income statement. Okay, this looks a little more reasonable. Okay. So 71 billion premium revenue. Just think about that drag on the economy. $70 billion just goes back into the economy. It's wasted right now on auto insurance. Think about that unlock. Okay, so this is net premiums written. I still don't quite understand this build up. This is sort of like an income statement. So it's policy acquisition costs. Okay, this is so confusing. Okay, future policy benefits, unearned premiums, other payables, fine. Okay, premium revenue. So let's see, 1961, 39, 057, 23, 58, 70, net investment income, claims, this is a cost, amortization, I would actually lump this over here. This is also a cost. Other operating expenses, and this is, I guess, net. Okay, so this is a loss, this is a loss, this is a gain, this is a gain, this is a gain, this is a loss. Yeah, I don't get this at all. Anybody know what to add and subtract to make these numbers add up? One way to look at it is the same way you can look at health insurance, which is MLR. So you basically say they spend 31 cents. They keep 31 cents out of the premiums, and they spend 69 cents on accidents. So that's premiums here and claims here. That's the basic idea. So they kind of have 21 billion gross profit after that. Subtract operating costs, you have 12 billion. This is without including interest income, which you should probably include, or unearned premiums, future benefits, or PAC. Get pretty close to the number they have, but it's still not quite adding it up. I'm like 100 million off. But I guess if I look at it my way, that, they have 12 billion-ish in operating profit. Oh, is this some weird thing that grows every year? Or is this net new premiums written? This is so confusing. Shouldn't be too hard to figure out. S&P up 1%. You're saying net income's $8 billion. I will say it's fairly straightforward to look at premium revenue versus kind of operating costs. But this seems like, okay, so the future benefits I should be subtracting, adding this back and adding this back, but then I'm at break even. And then it's just a float business, right? So how much cash are they sitting on if it's a float business? Because that is roughly a break even. And it's such a cutthroat business, I can imagine that the claims themselves could be break even. They're big on diversity, equity, and inclusion, as they should be. One of the most important things when you study a business. Okay, there is an annual letter to shareholders. There is kind of an investment portfolio here, which is around 80 billion, mostly in treasuries, tiny bit in stocks, like 5% stocks. Portfolio is rallying back very nicely. Back to break even. Quantum fading quite strongly. Okay, there's a letter. This is the appendix to the annual report. Aha! You bastards thought you could hide it. That's kind of what I was doing here. They're sort of giving that statutory balance sheet and income statement. All right, so underwriting margin, I would say, is 11 cents, 15 cents on the dollar. Which is interesting because that's exactly the same amount as healthcare. And then you have, there are some other operating expenses. I guess it's all in there in underwriting. But there should be some G&A, no? Where's the general? Okay, so I could see the $8 billion in net income. Most of their profits are actually coming from the spread, the underwriting margin. So I don't know how much of this is a float. $80 billion, how much money can you make on that anyway? Short-term treasuries, they're making 2% on that anyway. So on 80 billion, their yield is actually pretty pitiful, 3.5% on 8250. The 8250 they have, and then they have 39,057 they may have to pay, or they will have to pay. They've taken reserves on. So you can argue that they have 41 billion on the balance sheet on the cash side, which is only a little bit more than I modeled anyway. 8 billion net income. One question is, why did premiums grow so much? Okay, there's real cash flow. That makes more sense. Letter to shareholders. Every year when I pick a theme for the annual report, I reflect on what is happening both within Progressive and across the world around us. My strong belief in meliorism. Okay. Aided in choosing the theme empathy. There is solace in knowing that our efforts can have a very positive effect. I'm trying to get my head around why there was so much growth in auto insurance. What do you guys know? They target a 4% underwriting margin. Quite a bit higher than that, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so rate increases. Rates kind of went up in general. They're not very explicit. A lot of soft, touchy-feely stuff. All right, we're in the black. We're at $4. Oh, actually, right now we're up 2 cents. S&P up 64 basis points. NVIDIA's traded by far the most. 132 million shares, down 1%. Palantir's up 4, Apple's up 2, Intel's up 2, Tesla's down 2. Okay, still no sufficient shares for Webull, but yeah, my thinker swims a little. So I was, Trump didn't say much, so I was looking at Crocs, and it looks very, very cheap. This is this footwear maker, Crocs, Crocs. But, they're going to have a big earnings decline this year, and, I'd really like to listen to management and see kind of what's going on there, so I could do a little more research there. But as a value stock, it looks pretty attractive. Yeah, not much tariff talk. S&P up 60 basis points, for a little bit of relief that, Trump's not going too ham. Yeah, Croc flip-flops, that's right. Hard to know, how much more they can do. And again, it's kind of like, it reminds me of Abercrombie, where you have this like pretty big changes in revenue. They go back and forth, right? So you don't necessarily know what earnings will be year to year. Crocs. Exactly, Mike Green. He's got it. So a lot of these stocks are going to trade at that low multiple because you're going to have to basically spread the earnings cycle across the fashion cycle. We've looked at Dutch Bros. It looks pretty good. In general, apparel stocks have that problem. Yeah, I know our friend Mike Bigger, old D.E. Shaw guy, is a Crocs top shareholder. Mike's a great dude. Funny guy. He bought it for very little. I love it when these young guns try to tell me about quantitative investing. Man, quantum down nicely. I like to see that. Sign up for 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 this week, I spent a lot of time. You guys want to see something that I programmed? It's a little lame, but I don't know, maybe you like it. So, you know, sometimes you see these market cap things, and to me, it'd sort of be fun to have the world's biggest stocks by market cap just on a website that you can always just go to and it's real time. And yeah, there's something wrong with my computer where if I try to like have an active window, it won't. So anyway, you scroll down and it populates new companies. So you can sort of see where the biggest companies are. And what I'm going to do is have it be like, well, all US stocks are, you know, 80 trillion, and, you know, all Swedish stocks are 1 trillion or something like that. So you can kind of, why don't I switch to Linux? Windows subsystem isn't good enough for you? So I'm kind of fond of this. I got to make some adjustments, but it's a pretty neat little ranking of the companies of the world, and maybe those links will go to Godel or something. Yeah, there'll be a lot of different little features I can add. But I always liked coin market cap, so I can add crypto to that too, and just make little buttons that are like stocks only, commodities, like because what's the gold market cap? Isn't it like 12 trillion? So you think Apple's a big company, then you realize that all the gold in the world is actually worth quite a bit more than Apple. So yeah, we were talking about Mantra, aka Ohm, which got rug pulled late last night. $5 billion crypto, down 90%. S&P flirting with negative territory here. I don't know if VKTX is a buy or not. I really do like the GLP space. I think it'll get bigger and bigger. But why would you compare a productive asset to a precious metal? Why wouldn't you? Do you think I do not know that Apple is a corporation and gold is an amorphous substance that can be found on the periodic table, that it's a metal? Do you think that's skipped my mind? Oh, you know what, you're right. I didn't realize. One's a conductor of electricity and one's a Delaware C Corp. Ah, thank you. It's just an interesting comparison. You know, Buffett would argue Apple's way more valuable than gold. Is that what you pay for, Mick? I don't think so. I don't like that framework. So, like, people say that about Bitcoin. Like, okay, it costs a lot of money to make Bitcoin or to mine a Bitcoin or whatever. There's proof of work. I don't think that's a good thing. Why is that a good thing? Imagine if the same thing was required of TCP/IP. I don't know why people find gold valuable, but it is a societal thing, and it really is a truism of the price of something is whatever people are willing to pay for it, which juxtaposes against the value of things. And this is a forever tug of war that you have to keep in mind. And this is why being a good investor requires flexibility. The price of something and the value of something are constantly in conflict. And you have to be able to accept both concepts. Gold is practically worthless compared to its current price. At the end of the day, we've accepted that the value of gold is low and the price of gold is high due to either some perceived scarcity or whatever. And it just is what it is. Like, you just can't change it. We have to accept it. You know, it'll never change. And, you know, of course, it's sometimes seen as a hedge against inflation or fiat or whatever, but I don't think gold's necessary. That is a very interesting point, Godel Goblin. I like that. Gold is a Ponzi. You could also call it a corner, if you're familiar with that term. It's a corner that is perpetrated by central banks. I'm usually not a conspiracy theorist, but I kind of like this idea because corners are illegal when you or I do them. If we bought all the shares of some small cap stock and tried to make it go up by not selling it and made it go to a 10 trillion market cap, that's a corner and it generally is illegal. But if the central banks did that with gold, well, they made the rules. So yeah, I mean, look, you know, there is something real about gold that has lasted millennia that paper money hasn't, although we've had paper money for a while too. So I don't know. This is a debate that's not going to be solved right now. You know, like, it is one of these really age-old debates. The silver market was cornered by that's right, by the Hunt brothers. I met one of the Hunts in Dallas, one of the Hunt, I guess, probably grandsons. And because of that corner, the rules got changed. The Volcker created a futures limit rule. Before that, there was no futures limit rule. People like Hunt and me, unfortunately, our minds won't stop working. And we'll constantly think, well, there's a limit on how much stock you can buy, but there's no limit on futures. Let's buy all the silver we can. And that, you know, people who are creative or have a lot of ingenuity sometimes will sort of skip the common sense part of things. Like, it doesn't make sense to actually do this. And some people just do it. And I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing. But, you know, Hunt's tried to corner gold and it failed. And I think they had some issues after that. There was a platinum trades failed in the metals market. So there was that too. Yeah, gold had a very specific physical property that allowed it. You know, for example, you can test the density of gold very easily. It's very specific weight, and therefore is like perfectly good kind of tool. So I don't know. I feel like it's interesting to compare asset classes because it gives you a barometer for what's, back to the serious, maybe more serious question. Why compare equities to commodities? Well, it's a very philosophically interesting thing to do. So real estate's a good example. I would venture to say that all of global equities should be worth more than all global real estate. I would actually venture to say that some commodities, this is a tough one. I've always thought oil was a little undervalued, but versus gold especially, it's tough to say. There's a lot more interesting investors than Michael Burry out there. We actually make a point of pointing them out on this YouTube. You know, there's Michael Burry's not, you know, some big shot on Wall Street. We try to point out other bigger big shots. Do you guys get frames that are freezing, or is that just on my side? How do you determine the value of something? That's also very hard to do. You know, it's not easy at all. And that's why Buffett cabins and limits the amount of things he tries to value, right? There are things that you probably see me sit here and say, I'm not sure I can put a number on this one. And I kind of cop out and say, I'm still learning this business. But usually kind of what I mean is I'm not sure what the pathway is to coming up with a number that I feel comfortable with. And even when we do that, we make mistakes. We're lucky to be 60-40, right? So anyway, I was looking at Crocs and take a break and hang out with my girl. Might have a half day today just because we got something going on that I have to attend a little later, but I'll see. And then the rest of the week should be pretty normal. NVIDIA flat, S&P, some relief rally. People are holding their breath on Trump, and he didn't say anything too crazy. Pretty tough talk on pharma, but pharma having a bit of a relief rally anyway. So again, hard to know exactly what's in all traders' minds at the moment, but depth, yeah, I think that's right. I don't think it's Think or Swim because I actually closed that. Let me see if I can find it on Task Manager. I don't understand. I got a brand new computer with a 4090 in it.